Blah 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 blah. Okay. Oh,
Oh, I didn't see you come in.
here's something I prepared earlier. A friend. Hey everyone!
Hello.
I'm Lachlan. As you know, this is Shaun. Who you
Hi.
may remember from some videos many moons ago. It was the Sennheiser
Sennheiser Momentum's on-ears,
on-ear video, which was not an encouraging video, and maybe part of my decision not to take review units anymore. We all look
spent
very exhausted.
So many hours trying to figure out what was wrong with them because they obviously should not sound as bad as they did.
No. Well, I mean, I guess some people like them. So, Shaun, you got a new toy?
Yes, I got the HE-560.
By Hifiman.
They fit on my gigantic head and make me happy when I listen to them.
I often get a pair of headphones and go, "Hey, Shaun, try these," and the immediate response will be,
They don't fit.
They don't fit. Or like with my Audio Technicas with the 3D wings, you go like, "It feels like there's a spider on my head."
I don't like this, it's scary.
But these thankfully do fit, due probably to the very, very simple headband mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Very expansive headband mechanism that the Hifimans have. Now, honestly, I've always thought that the Hifiman headbands look really, really like...
Shoddy.
I mean, shoddy implies they're badly built, and I don't think they're necessarily badly built because this is a pretty simple construction.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to get this wrong. It's only that they seem a little, I guess, unvarnished.
Underwhelming.
They are only one step. Actually, no, I would say Bayer has slightly nicer looking headbands, but they both subscribe to this kind of really bare metal school of headband design.
Which I personally don't
As long as they work.
Yeah.
Like, as long as they will fit on, and you know, this is still a million times better than this pair of stacks that I have here. I don't know if you can see that. No, it's just, yeah, that pair of stacks, the headband design on that is... all of it is just designed horribly. At least this is just metal.
The stacks, I remember when I tried them, they felt like something I could snap with my pinky.
These feel more like the price. Speaking of which, how much you pay for them?
I paid $9.99, which means I had a saving of $500, which is not insignificant, I must say.
Yeah. I mean, Shaun and I've often brought Shaun to Minidisc, and each time he's had to listen to these, and he's asked me, "Lachlan, stop me from buying these."
Or show me something similar that costs less.
Yeah, and the thing is that,
we failed every time.
yeah, it's actually really hard, and I think what makes the HE-560 kind of unique is that I can't point to many planar magnetic headphones or orthodynamic headphones that sound like this, that are not more expensive than the 560. Like, I can think of lots of dynamic headphones that are in a similar price range, and I would say similar in maybe in terms of some qualities, but what you like, one of the reasons why you like this is because of the bass.
Yes, I don't particularly like bass, but if there is going to be bass, I prefer it to be... well, being flippant, I prefer it to be good.
Yeah, like these have that kind of nice planar bass punch, and there's not much for around that price point where you can still get that beautiful
bass punch that's incredibly controlled and detailed, and you can tell what the bass is meant to be.
So the closest equivalents I can think of are, like I say, the Audeze LCD2, but in Australia that costs the same amount recommended retail, but that wasn't on sale.
Yeah.
I would say it sounds bassier, darker than this one.
And I don't, as I just mentioned, I don't particularly like dark sounding headphones.
I mean, I think this is a really natural sounding headphone. There's a slight kind of almost thinness or a nice kind of dry tone, I guess, to the higher frequency. So there is that detail. I have heard that the previous generation, the 500, I think HE-500, was a little more warm. So some people may prefer that. I didn't get a chance to really listen to that.
Neither did I, and I'm not sure I'd have preferred that, honestly.
Yeah, I've always thought that this is nice and just
natural
clean
sounding.
and dry and natural. What sort of music do you listen to?
I listen to jazz, metal, blues, pop, electronic, rock, hip hop.
He listens to even more than that. I'll tell you now, because one of the favorite we live very close to each other. We're old friends from uni.
Yeah.
We often take long trips back from events, and he will put something on, and it's anyone's guess what it's going to be each week. Well, sometimes it's going to be metal, but sometimes it's going to be something.
Like,
Just-
hey, here's this new jazz I found.
Or some like amazingly cute chiptune album or something like that. So, yeah, it's always. This is one of the better all rounders I can think of.
Yeah.
The only reasons I've ever hesitated about this headphone in particular, besides the price, I guess. Though I think in terms of price, it's actually, for the price you paid for it, it was quite reasonable.
Yeah. Is it the Hifiman quality?
There's that thing.
Yeah.
There are some doubts about Hifiman build quality. Like, some people have had issues in the past. Though if you buy from an Australian retail, I don't think that's as big of a problem, because if you get something wrong, you can swap it over. If you bought direct from Hifiman and you had to send it back and forth.
Yeah.
For
For example, I bought them and took them straight home and then decided to listen to them and found out the cable didn't work. So I had to take them back the next day and got a new cable.
Yeah, that's a really
Yeah, if I bought it online, I would be waiting for it to come through.
That said, that sometimes happens with all sorts of things. Like, I bought Bayers before that. I had to return the next day because there was some sort of buzz in the low frequencies.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
Yeah, I've bought other headphones before, but that had little bugbears. But I have, maybe it's confirmation bias, but I have heard niggles about Hifiman's build quality in the past.
Let me tell you that as soon as I walked in, everyone in there smiled at me knowingly.
Oh, really?
Yes. And they're like, Hi-Fi-Man. So-
okay.
There is a reputation there.
Yeah. The only other thing I think of is I've always thought that the weight of the headphones is a little much for me.
I can imagine them getting fatiguing in
Yeah,
long
I feel
sessions.
it a little more in my neck when I wear these headphones. That said, the stacks are around the same weight. Though maybe they just feel a little different because they have a broader ear pad.
So you're wondering if it's the surface area distribution.
Yeah, it might be that. It just might be... Like, I could probably still wear these for hours and not have too much of a complaint compared to maybe some Audazes, because I think this is slightly lighter. I'd have to double check on that. Don't shout at me in the comments if it turns out that's not right.
The one thing I could see being a problem is them getting quite hot while listening for long sessions.
Oh,
So
yeah,
too.
yeah. Well, they are open, I guess, so Australian summers it's not going to be too bad, but you're going to see when summer rolls around. The ear pads are really...
Yeah, the
These are the,
ear pads are really nice, and the ear pads are what are quite insulating,
quite
though.
soft. This is interesting, though. Just looking at this ear pad now, have you noticed that the finish on the two ear pads is different?
Yep. Yes,
Weird.
I've noticed that.
That's weird. But, of all the Hi-Fi-Mans, this is probably one of my favourites. Well, I guess the last note we should probably talk about is amplification,
Yeah.
because you don't currently have an amplifier.
No, I'm currently running them out of my, I don't know what particular kind of AV, like what model of AV receiver it is, but it is a Yamaha. And they sound fairly decent on them. And I tried running them off my dad's Marantz, and they sounded, I told Lachlan on the way here that they sounded impressively thin.
Yeah.
on
I don't know what's
Marantz.
going on. You never know with those, like the headphones jacks on the
Yeah.
on the receivers, because they're not really the...
That's not their aim.
No, it's, a lot of the times that's included as an afterthought, but you never know. At the same time, I feel, and in general, I'm a bit of a amplifier skeptic to begin with, but I feel like with orthodynamic or planar headphones in particular, most of them don't have very high power requirements. They don't have very complex impedance curves. They don't, they aren't particularly challenging loads for most amplifiers, so I don't think that they're particularly fussy. I know a lot of people will beg to differ, and they'll say that you have to have an amplifier to scale this headphone, and it has to cost X amount, or blah blah blah. But I think you can get away with some decent equipment at value price equipment. So I was talking with Shaun about maybe like the shit Magni or the Modi. That's totally the name of the company, so don't pull me up on YouTube content guidelines. Blame the company, not me. I've got my Matrix M stage, which I've offered to Shaun, but we're not going to conduct the negotiations on camera because that would be totally unfair to him.
That would be a conflict.
It would be like
of
a
interest.
power move.
Yeah.
Also,
Power moves to end all power moves. Invite you over, have you on camera, and then sell you things.
So the reason why I am thinking of selling the Matrix is because I'm using the Focusrite, basically, most of the times when I'm using headphones, and every single time I reach my hand under to turn the power switch on, I don't know if you can see this on my finger, this vicious Jay Leno, is it?
Yeah,
Leno? Jay Leno chin on this iMac just cuts my hand. Like, this is all from this computer, so yeah, that's real user friendly.
Yeah.
So I would like to relocate that where the Matrix is, and yeah.
You know what would be interesting? You know the Wii U gamepad? It has the things to hold it up. Like if you could mount a DAC in that.
What? The charging stand?
No, not the charging stand.
The Wii U gamepad has little things on the back?
No, not on the back. It's got like two little individual things that you can put one here, and then put the gamepad like that.
Are you talking about the Switch?
No, I'm talking about the Wii U. I know my Wii U has that.
What? Okay, we're going to go downstairs and look at the Wii U and see what he's talking about. Thank you, though, for letting me have a listen. And I'm glad someone that I know finally has a pair of these. I can have a bit of a longer demo at any point, if I so desire.
I like them. They make me happy. And that's all. If you're going to spend $1,000 on something, you want it to make you happy.
That's true. That's true. Though for some people that might be like a Hitman contract or something like that.
I'm not here to judge.
Okay, have your headphones back. And see ya. Happy listening.
Bye.